Honestly, not much. This game is the definition of a game done right. You can literally do everything in this game. Fishing, farming, mining, stealing the mayor's underwear, forcefully sleeping over at random people's houses. You name it. My main point is that this game is pretty much already perfect. However, there are always things to be changed, and for Stardew Valley, it's the small things. Let's start with difficulty. Currently, there's one unchangeable difficulty to this game. And sure, many of you already think that this game's difficulty is good where it's at, and honestly, I would have to agree. For most players.
Fishing is too hard. I can't manage to catch any fish. Fishing. It's so hard. Fishing is impossible. I find fishing completely impossible to do.
Not everyone is a god at fishing or monster slaying, so I suggest having a second difficulty to choose that makes the game easier. This would change stuff like the monsters in the caves to be easier, your crops to be worth a little more, and making that goddamn fishing game easier for you people. There have been too many people I've seen who just never go fishing or mining because it's so frustrating to them, and I think those people deserve a break with this mode. This difficulty should be choosable right from the get-go, and there should be an option to change it inside the actual file. Kind of like the Statue of Uncertainty in the sewers. On the other hand, I would like to see a harder difficulty also in the game. This difficulty should be locked until the player has at least one other file and or completes the community center. This mode would make the crops worth a little less, make the villagers harder to please, for example they want specific items on random days, and make the community center bundles a little harder to complete. The game kinda gets dull in the second playthrough, so implementing a harder difficulty would reignite the spark in some people. I would also like to see an achievement of some sort that can only be acquired by completing the game on hard mode, or something along those lines. And I can already hear some of you screaming in the comments.
There is already a mod for that. Scoot Zo, you are so stupid.
And that nicely segues into my next topic. To install a mod for Stardew Valley, you must first go and install Smappy, then go install the mod you want from Nexus Mods, then go and set everything up in the right folder and place, and then plug it into Steam so it connects towards your actual game. And after all that, you run the game and some mods just straight up don't work. Bruh. Like, don't get me wrong, I love mods. They change the game to make it more interesting and fun, but the installation process is just so primitive and, for most people, a hassle. To fix this, I would love an option to just be able to download mods straight from the actual game's title page. You log into the game, you click a few buttons, and boom, you have a mod that makes your dog into like Peter Griffin or something. This might be hard to program, but if it isn't, I would really like to see this become a part of the game. This is an ancient fruit, also known as an absolute moneymaker. Currently, it's just kinda too good, and you may not see a problem with it, but it just kinda makes the most efficient way to make money more boring and repetitive. No, I'm not suggesting to nerf the ancient fruit. I'm suggesting we make the other crops and other money-making techniques more profitable. For example, what if we made mining more profitable? Then instead of harvesting ancient fruit and turning into wine all the time, I would be out there mining for profit. What if we buffed fishing prices in the late game, or just made other crops rival the ancient fruit in price? Don't get me wrong, I love ancient fruit, but it just gets so repetitive repeating the same cycle over and over again. It took me 4 in-game years to get a golden claw, and I burned out of the game really fast by only growing ancient fruit. Now I'd like to throw some small things at you that don't really add too much value to the game, but just make it that tad little bit better, you know? If you've played the game, you'd know that the town folks have birthdays, but it really makes you wonder, where's your birthday? Having one day out of the year where the town folks, specifically the ones you befriend, give you gifts and celebrate would make the community so much tighter. And since we're on the topic of townsfolk, what about the continuation to the story arc? What if your children grew up and began to knit themselves within the community? Or if you could wingman other characters to date each other. Or what if Joja Corporation was secretly the good guy all along, and you've doomed the valley forever by shutting them down? Or just some more unique dialogue for the NPCs. Another minor thing I like to see is making your children resemble you and your spouse or your husband. I get it, there's already a mod for that, but I would like to see it make its way into the main game sometime. Oh, and what about seasonal outfits for all the NPCs? That would be kinda cool. Oh, and what about artifacts? Let's make them easier to obtain. Some of them are borderline frustrating to get and are like a 0.01 chance. For people like me who like to achievement farm in games, having this luck-based feature kinda makes me not want to grind 7,000 hours digging up fossils to complete one achievement. To fix this, we could just make artifacts be bought from the traveling merchant, or be gifted by the villagers, who just find them on the ground or something like that. You know that feeling once you finally complete the community center after so many years of grinding and you just ask yourself, what now? This game lacks another big goal after the community center. Sure, I get it, the community center is meant to be the bulk of the game. However, after you complete it, you just feel so pointless, kind of like an existential crisis. Yes, we got the witch's hut and the abandoned Joja warehouse story, but those can literally be completed in one day and they don't really feel like a challenge. I guess to conclude this video, I'm gonna repeat my introductory statement. This game is already pretty darn perfect. Stardew Valley is a game so good that I don't even think we deserve a game like this. The story, the characters, the mechanics, all work towards a unique game, which I love. The stuff I listed that I would change really stem around the idea of improving an already perfect game. And I'd be alright if Concerned Ape left the game where it is right now, as long as he's happy with it and the community's happy with it.
But Scootso, the fishing minigame is too hard.